Two high-profile moves tonight at two of our most under-fire companies. The Woolworths boss gone and Qantas appointing a new chairman. Joining me is business expert Jonathon Woolfrey. Jonathan, let's start with the early retirement of Brad Banducci from Woolies. Did he have much choice but to go?
Look, a good board would have a view to the future, and I'm sure they've had these chats with Brad before, but there's no doubt that the Four Corners situation this week probably said, well, look, we're planning on this in the very near future. Now might be the right time.
Yes, all the scandals really did culminate in that train wreck interview where he walked out when asked about pricing practices. He is trying to say this is a retirement, not a resignation. Should we buy that?
To a degree, yes. It would be pretty rash for one of Australia's largest company to make a decision like this just based on one interview across the course of what is a very long career for Brad. So, like I said earlier, I think that it's most likely accelerated the process a little bit, but I'm sure that Brad and the board had an agreement that he would exit in the very near future anyway.
The exit happened on the same day the company posted an almost $1 billion profit. Incoming CEO Amanda Bardwell's base salary will be more than $2.1 million. How do they explain that to customers who are paying more at the checkout and farmers who say they're being ripped off?
Absolutely. I can see the angst in regards to that. It's a large salary by any everyday Australian's estimation. A couple of things that they would have considered, particularly the Board of Woodside. First of all, how much do we have to pay to get the best possible person to get us back on track here? And they have to compete against other organisations for the best talent. The other thing is the shareholders, of course. Woolworths today lost over $500 million in market capitalisation. So shareholders would say, you know, $2 million is money well spent if you're going to give our returns back. But if I might say about the ordinary customer, I think, yes, they would say that this is an exceptional amount. But if Amanda's able to deliver cost savings, decrease the cost of living pressure on Australians, I think many would say, well, look, we're probably prepared to tolerate that to a degree.
Do you think appointing a new boss will save Woolworths' image, or do they need to do more?
I think it buys them an important circuit breaker, particularly at this time where a couple of pieces of news have come out with regards to Woolworths. So yeah, look, it gives a different voice, a different face, similar to other organisations. It's someone internal, so someone that can speak to staff, someone that's worked their way up from filling shelves. So I think it gives them a bit of a chance here to change the narrative, but you know, people will forget that shortly, and if it doesn't improve the outcomes for Woolworths, then yeah, there's a lot more work to do for sure.
OK, let's turn to Qantas. John Mullen will replace Richard Goyder as chairman. The airline says it signals a new chapter. Is it enough to get Qantas soaring again?
It's a combination of things. Obviously, Alan Joyce left last year, which, again, the change of CEO is probably the most important and pertinent thing an organisation can do to try and change its reputation. But the chair of an organisation, particularly like Qantas, which is so ingrained in our Australian vernacular, is just as important. And yes, look, I don't think it's as visible as the CEO role, but it does signal a change. But also not just with the everyday public, but also with government, with stakeholders, those other parties that Qantas have to get back on board given their reputation at the moment. So I think it does signal a difference. We'll have to wait and see on what it means.
So when Alan Joyce did bow out, critics said the whole board needed to go. Do you think the rot has set in, or is this enough change?
It's a great start. It's the most significant role on the board, as we know, and the chairperson of an organisation like Qantas wields an incredible amount of influence over the board and the CEO and the way that organisation is operated. So I think, in some degree, no, it doesn't represent the whole board and the whole board leaving the organisation, but it is a significant step in renewal for Qantas, and I think most people would actually wait and see how that looks. John could bring in other board members as well as he makes that transition into chair and looks to shape the board the way that he thinks it should be for Qantas.
OK, well, thanks so much for your thoughts tonight. Jonathon Woolfrey.
Pleasure.